Well, thank you all for being here. I'm Rebecca Curry. I'm the Public Services Supervisor in Special Collections and Archives, which is hosting our program tonight. Just a few housekeeping notes. Everyone has about a maximum 5-minute time slot. If you have less material, that's completely fine. If you have like 5 minutes and 30 seconds, we won't throw you off the stage, that's also fine. You've probably heard that we have severe weather chances, so in the event that the tornado sirens go off, we should all proceed very calmly to the designated tornado shelter area, which is out that way between the bathrooms and the elevators. So, with that out of the way, first up we have Jack Anderson. I already forgot.
Hello, testing. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Good to see everybody's smiling faces in the crowd, despite the crappy weather, more than half of which are my dear friends, so thank you for coming. Alright, so this first poem is about my grandpa and I taking a trip in his Silver Thunderbird to Pennsylvania. It's a 17-hour drive, and I thought it was going to be rough, to be honest, because we haven't really spent that much time together, but it was incredible, and I'll never forget it. So this is kind of how our bond goes, this first part. Part 1 of Heritage Poem. I want a cigarette. Grandpa Wade has a silver convertible Thunderbird. We drove 16 hours to Pennsylvania, him and I, cracking the windows, lighting our cigarettes in the car, watching cautiously so I didn't let the snowflakes of ash tumble down onto the mahogany-colored Ferrari seat interior, instead holding them outside, where the ash disappeared instantly. Part 2. McChicken, strawberries, beef sticks, and coffee. Most important of all. We ate little. A McChicken, strawberries, and beef sticks were my indulgences, his meals coffee and toast. When he drove, the radio fell silent. When I drove, we heard a station answering a boredom phone call describe a football filled with feces being thrown in someone's face in Ohio, and a host talking about the texting boundaries of platonic friendships in Indiana. With each post-80 song that came on, there was a fit in the seat next to me. Grandpa would ask me, what makes this crap worth listening to, for each station that we found? I'd respond that Nirvana shows incredible musicianship, or the host describes shit splattering over his face with great imagery. Anything to convince him to listen, though I'd smile in persuasion because he'd bitch about everything except for football and baseball. Maybe a lot of debris flew around upstairs because he told me about his math books in German and his algebra dissertation, scoffing jokingly whenever I scrunched my face in confusion. The second morning, air dense with fog emanating from trees surrounding I-70, I sped through traffic with lead feet imitating his. We reached a clearing, masses of red, black, blue, and white cars behind when I asked Grandpa how he felt, reminded by masses of black, red, white, and blue cars, observing the quadrupling of our population in his lifetime. Grandpa, who'd butchered animals as a kid, hung from harnesses strapped to rural telephone poles, and raised 3 kids, opined, it's absolutely terrifying to watch, Jack. Alright, thank you. And for my next one, I'm gonna read a poem based on a character in the book Kite Runner. It's also based on somebody in real life. So yeah, hope you enjoy. This is called Santa Bar. Small hours pass. You've already gone a locomotive east. I know you think of God while you ramble from Afghanistan to India, maroon deserts and high sandy plateaus. I know you sing to live, voice of enchantress, sparing none from hypnosis. I know you take pictures while wind tosses your straight black hair, a multilingual flag at full mast. I know you purge fearful, guilty thoughts of the past and seek to cram your psyche with newly floating optimism. I dream of you underneath an elaborate mosque, lying in wet morning Bermuda. I dream of your closed eyes, savoring an unforgiving sun. I dream of your elaborate dress and passing time talks. I dream of you dancing sober, merchants admiring how much strength could be found in grace. I dream of how you left in spring, lavender blossoming, and how you fell silent in summer, heat willing and wilting, a life that had just begun. You call Kabul your home, but you remain untethered. Your soul anchors dire necessities and memories of an abandoned child. Thank you. This last one is a shorter one. This is about a trip I took with my friend Carlos up here to New Orleans. It's a bit lighthearted, so. All right. Been yea, done that. After 12 hours, we kept north, distancing ourselves from the Big Easy. The bomber weaved through Eureka on 2-lane highways. Jack, Nico, and Carlos slept entering the final hour. A devilish violin bow moaned over Jimmy Page's guitar. A hermit in the cockpit where blue dashboard instruments glowed like stars over violet plains. I thought of drunken mishaps, unfulfilled ambitions, and vacations, fixed in time, remnants of powdered sugar smiles. Been yea, done that. We turned onto the next highway. Jack woke up, accused me of summoning a demon with the heavy blues pentagram coming from the stereo. Give me the phone. I have something to play, ordered Carlos. The opening melody to Bohemian Rhapsody played. Our brains sparkled with electric nostalgia. We harmonized loudly, ignoring curious roadside deer, weaving, flying closer to home, our own beds. Thank you very much. There you go.
Next up, we have Luke Johnson.
Well, first, this on? Okay, can you hear me? Yep. Well, first, I think I'd better preface this with a little mystery lesson. I'd like to take in a bit of a crossroads of America. Okay, where did I put my picks? The country music has a very storied history in this country. And this song was recorded by one of the earliest singers, a man named Jimmy Rogers. And are any of you familiar with the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yes.
Well, hold on one second. As you can tell, I never rehearsed this. As I was saying, if you're familiar with the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, this may sound familiar. just dropped to his face. We didn't like to see that place. We're in the jailhouse now. Aye-ole. 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 Ole. Ole. Something like that. Thank you, thank you.
Nice voice, sir.
Thank you.
Up next is Debra Irsik.
Maybe that's what the space.
Well, I guess I'm here representing Emporia Riders Group. There were supposed to be about 3 of us here tonight. I don't know, they must have got scared off by the weather. Well, you're one of us, but I didn't know you were coming. And I thought, I don't have much that really goes along with the theme, but this one's as close as I have, and the other two really don't go with the theme. This one is called Heroines. My heroines were kind, true, faithful, naive, and strong, saving the day with sweet nature, morality, and faith. Anne, mischievous, inquisitive, and hopeful. Pollyanna, deeply rooted in faith and positivity. Sometimes naivety served to protect her from life's cruel moments. Heidi, sweet, loving, open. She was kind, conscientious, and willing to give herself. Uncle Tom's Cabin helped to instill in me a sense of fairness and acceptance of all. Little Women and Pride and Prejudice, with their strong characters and substance, helped me find my own balance in faith, kindness, and the desire to be a giver. These heroines had one thing in common. They each had heart. And this poem is totally different. And it's called Moods of the Sky. Soft, billowy clouds float on a canvas of blue. We make a game of telling what we see. A galloping horse, roaring tiger, unicorn. Sometimes it's a peaceful sky, changing as we sleep into a weeping, rumbling, groaning, churning, angry canopy, exploding with fireworks, illuminating the heavens, shaking the earth with wind, sheets of chilling rain, ice, snow. Illusions of geological layers, hard gray stone that rolls and churns, twisting into ropes of disaster, tearing through towns and limestone hills, throwing trees and poles like an angry child, no distinction of value, with no mercy. Sometimes it's a sheet of the bluest blue, with a hesitating dot and dash like a secret code, a hint of breeze, hot, dry, or thick, dense gray, no white in sight that stirs the poplars to applaud and their leafy cousins to dance. So many faces of the passionate, peaceful, overwhelming, glorious moods of the sky. And I have one more. And this is one that I just kind of, several years ago, just kind of noticed how many crosses there are. You know, when you think about all the crosses that we have in our world, and they usually represent strength because you cross things to strengthen them. So that's kind of where this goes. Have you ever noticed that crosses are everywhere? Support in construction of our homes and buildings, the transmission of our voices, electric veins that stand along our roads and fields, rows and rows of crosses. We cross our fingers for luck or protecting the truth. Every intersection in life forms a cross. We use it in cross stitching, basket weaving, braiding, plumbing, math, our radio towers, radar devices, even birds flying by look like crosses in the sky. Stick people even resemble a cross. We have crossbows, cross-hatching, cross-latching. We get crosswise, and please don't forget to cross your T. Even the arrow that gives direction is a form of a cross. It's simple to see that the cross is our foundation, our arrow, our direction. Thank you.
What are you doing?
Up next, we have Gabe Moore.
We'll get that all figured out at one point or another. Cool. So this might be a little bit emotional actually, because I made a mistake before I came here earlier today and yesterday. So yeah, if you see that, that's what's on my mind right now. But anyway, tonight's poem is based on a text from Charlotte's Web, and I want to read the text from Charlotte's Web towards the end, and the title of the poem is called Friend. But here's the text from William Allen, W.B. White's poem, or story, sorry. Why did you do all this for me, he asked. I don't deserve it. I've never done anything for you. You have been my friend, Charlotte replied. That in itself is a tremendous thing. Friend, poem by Gabe Moore. Within walls of William Allen lie words, inspired by Evie, both of surname White, and hurled about clumsily by authorship Moore, pertain they do to a fondly recalled book tonight. The line of text near the close highlights friend, and I begin to wonder, I suppose, as it drifts aimlessly, like tiny spider webs floating gently on wind near end of that beloved old tale. Charlotte and Wilbur appear without fail. She declares with affirmation that friend is a state comparable to tremendous. But I look in a mirrored reflection encasing art and see a man stately in size. Charlotte sees with 8 little eyes a true friend in Wilbur as her life's night draws closer on. I remain to ponder how to rise to the view of Charlotte's friend, a wonder to her eyes.
Now we have Juleonna Stevenson.
Hello. I have 2 pieces for you today. One's one of my lighter pieces and one's a more heavier pieces. They're both dedicated. The first one to a person and the next one to a place and a time. The first one is called Moose Story. There he lay in the cold of Alaska, his sleepy face itchy with coming stubble, young, fresh, spry, and dark, like a steaming mug of hot and fresh roasted coffee. No creamer, just sugar. The young soldier was all snug in his cot, in his sleeping bag, curled in the sweatshirts his mama had sent him with her 20-something baby on the plane with a fresh pressed uniform. The older soldiers still called him the kid, Jimmy. A part-time city boy, part-time small-town kid was a young man sleeping with his troop in the cold of Alaska. In the wilderness, just olive green burlap and his fellow soldiers. He sleeps deeply, cozy even, snores rattle snowflakes like he's Jack Frost's distant cousin. He ignores the snickers of the other soldiers as they open the window flap real wide. The muffled snow crunches under their mischievous feet and hooves. A handful of rationed peanuts lead the massive head of a moose closer and closer. Jimmy still sleeps. Jimmy still sleeps contently, his internal clock ticking to awake just a few more minutes. The peanut shells silently find a home next to his resting shoulder. The air fog with the hot breath from the curious moose, leathery nose and lips. Jimmy's nose wrinkles from the musk and the hot drool as the moose crunches the rationed treats. And then Jimmy blinks. Jimmy blinks hazy for only a few seconds. He only captures the creature in glimpses. The coarse, scruffy brown of his snow-damp fur, the wet nostrils with black stubble, the wide-set eyes and hulking, branch-like antlers curled through the burlap ceiling. All of this fills the soldier boy's vision. Then, the bellowing call that rattles from the moose's strong, shaggy neck shoots him awake. That ain't there. That he know ain't worth that loud. The creature's head and neck take all the space over. The creature was built to take on even more space than Jimmy could even see. That he didn't know that moose were that big. And there, in the cold of Alaska, a young soldier, high knees out of his tent, hollering in his long johns, sparking snowflakes everywhere in his escape. The moose just wanted more peanuts. And he whines, and all the soldiers laugh. This is dedicated to my father's goofiest story of his time as a young man and soldier. And my next poem is called The Black Barbarian, The Last Black Barbarian. It's dedicated to the east side of Coffeyville, Kansas, 10 decades after the water took everything from us. On the pitted concrete of Linden and Fifth, a hound lays on the yellow grass under a barren pecan tree. Years have ate up his once daunting frame, from the menacing giant of a shadowy beast to a gnarly, inky, fading creature. The last black barbarian, the mutt king of no nation, a loyal dog churned the jaded beast by floodwaters. His crumbling cardboard box was his eroding throne and palace. The ratty towel rests like a fading shroud on his frame. No crown in his head, just a patch of clawed mange. I ached. I hurt. The rotting scraps gurgled my guts. The frost burned my paws and nose. My body shook, but not of my commands. The world glazed with sticky, sick eyes. The black creature didn't have a breed anymore. Pit bull, Rottweiler, Mastiff, it didn't matter anymore. He was just a big, ancient mutt now, with salt and pepper on his muzzle, tail broken, limp front legs and one-eared. His eyes clouded red as he grumbled on his cardboard. His history is nothing but dirty water, fight wounds, and teeth that tore for mankind's legs in an effort to protect the pack of 14 abandoned dogs over the 7 devastated and barren blocks. A pack gone as of yesterday. Penny had licked his neck one more time before the old Dane girl hobbled off to the condemned pale green house at the top of the block to die under it in the leaves. Oh, does he remember how much she loved the leaves? He lays his head down on his paws to whine about his last lover and disciple. A sterile white truck slowly, cautiously rolled down the street until it parked 15 feet too close to the black barbarian's patch of cracked cement. 4 men hopped out in navy logged uniforms, nets and catchers in their hands, and they laid their eyes on the sad king. One shook his head and chucked the chicken patty powdered in white towards his weary paws. The black barbarian snapped to a stand. Nothing but growls and snarls and foamy jowls. He knew that trick. It's what killed Rufus, that foolish bulldog. Our people had left us to be beasts on top of floating dining tables and beds. Your boats swam by us creatures so fast to knock us into murky waters. Your whirling metal birds looked down on us, never saved us. I saved us from the flood waters. I conquered them. They're all mine. This is all mine. The four men whistle softly, tutting in pity as his writhing form crumbles over his lame paws, yips added to his growling tirade. Penny's pups are nothing but dirty water when we found her nest, and you did nothing. Old man Diego pawed for hours for his old lady, and you let her die in her rocking chair. Chico died that first winter. His fur couldn't grow after the tar you spilled on us. I was there. This is all mine. The men turn away as he spits, whispering to themselves. His howls shudder for them to bow to him. Where are the cowards that locked us in those houses? Where are the traitors who tied us to fence lines? Where are the metal giants that ripped down our shelters? Where are the foolish fools who dared to test my pack with flinches? Where's my little human girl that I was dragged away from as the waters rose? Give me these peasants and float away. This repentance is mine. This is all mine. The foolish soldiers of the township crouch down to the level of the rabid king. He starts to rock himself back on his haunches, yellowed and bloodied teeth bared as he stepped off his cardboard. The men formed the tight half circle opposite the black barbarian, their circle nets casted out wide. A fifth knight stood center, a rifle in his blanched hands. I lived through the shots of your guns. I've lived through your traps of poisoned meats on newspapers. I've lived through all the revving engines and squealing tires pointed at me. I've lived through your embers, your ashes, and your smoke. I lived when my pack died. I lived while mankind died. I lived when all the buildings became splinters and our foundations crumbled to gravel. I am the beast you left for creation. You dare challenge to end the life of the last black barbarian? A king like I? The hound bounds forward with all of his fleeting strength. He lunges with rapid spit, fury's teeth in the gall of a survivor, the gall of the last king. Shots ring out, answered by a snarling howl that dies into a helpless yap. It all ends in a heavy thud on the cement, the black barbarian. Thank you.
Well, it looks like that's about all we have for tonight, unless anyone in the audience wants to step up. All right, well, this is actually our last event of this semester, but I'll tell you all to save the date for June 18th if you'll be around, when we'll be having a party to celebrate the 50th anniversary of our May Massey collection. Fun for all ages, so hope maybe to see you there.